John Day Fossil Beds National Monument is one of my favorite places to explore in Oregon. It's divided into 3 geographically separate units, each located approximately 2 hours northeast of Bend. The 3 units, Sheep Rock, Painted Hills, and Clarno, occupy roughly 14,000 acres of semi-desert shrubland and badland. The monument preserves a world-class record of plant and animal evolution, changing climate, and past ecosystems that span over 40 million years. In this video, I'm not going to be giving a history lesson on how the colorful formations came to be, but I will be showing it all through a one-day itinerary through all 3 units. If you'd like to do everything we did in this video in the same amount of time, you need to wake up early, be a fast hiker, and always be wary of time. If not, 2 days is also an appropriate amount of time to experience all that John Day Fossil Beds have to offer. Now, throughout all my videos on the channel thus far, I've only covered one other national monument, Cabrillo National Monument in San Diego, California, but I never really explained what a national monument is or how it's different from, say, a national park. Many national monuments tend to be administered by the National Park Service, with many having been promoted to national park status in the past. Generally speaking, a national monument preserves at least one nationally significant resource. A national park, on the other hand, contains a greater variety of resources and encompasses a larger area of land or water to provide adequate protection to said resources. Under the Antiquities Act of 1906, the President has the authority to proclaim national monuments on lands already under federal jurisdiction, and Congress controls all other additions to the national park system, as well as which monuments are best fit to be a future national park. With that in mind, any national monument you've ever visited, and especially those administered by the national park system, can be promoted to national park status if they're ever faced with a serious threat. Behind these differences are a similar setup to a national park with roads, trails, overlooks, visitor centers, and more. I mentioned how John Day Fossil Beds National Monument is divided into 3 distinct units. The one we started at, as well as the most visited unit, is the Painted Hills unit. This is best for those looking to do a short visit because you could knock it out pretty quickly while still taking your time to experience the beautiful colors of the landscape. As you near the unit, you'll start to see your first painted hills, and from there they appear very frequently. Distinguished by varied stripes of red, tan, orange, and black, this area preserves a sequence of past climate change as well as a diverse assemblage of leaf fossils aging 30 to 39 million years ago. The highest concentration of painted hills, and possibly my biggest recommendation in the entire monument, can be seen from the Painted Hills Overlook Trail. The Painted Hills Overlook Trail is a simple half-mile walk that provides some of the best views of the Painted Hills. But if there's something I can't help but recommend that a lot of people aren't aware of, is a secondary trail called the Carroll Rim Overlook Trail. This is a 1.6-mile out and back hike with nearly 400 feet of elevation gain. It's located on the other side of the road leading into the parking lot. It's not too difficult and is very engaging as you climb higher above the Painted Hills. You'll see practically no people on this trail, and the payoff is absolutely spectacular. It looks like someone splattered red ink on all these little hills, only it was Mother Nature who did it all on her own. The Painted Hills unit of the monument has a few other trails that may be of interest, but you'll have to skip them if you want to do everything else in the video in a one-day time span. In 2021, when I first visited the Painted Hills, we got to check out the Red Scar Knoll Trail and the Painted Cove Trail. The latter is a nice wheelchair accessible option, with the boardwalk style trail taking you up close and personal to the hills. Since I much prefer seeing the Painted Hills from afar, this is one that I was fine skipping this visit. Our next stop was the Sheep Rock unit, which is going to eat up most of your time within the monument. Not only is it by far the largest in size, but it features the most amount of trails, overlooks, and even the monument's visitor center. It's an hour-long drive from the Painted Hills, and one recommendation I'll give is once you reach the beginning of the unit, backtrack through the entirety of Picture Gorge. This is a stunning short drive through a canyon with the John Day River flowing straight through it. Yes, this arid shrubland has a river, and it is absolutely beautiful. Our first stop within the Sheeprock unit was the Thomas Condon Visitor Center, which doubles as a paleontology center as well. This is where you'll find an incredible exhibit displaying over 500 fossil specimens from the John Day fossil beds. There's also a viewing area into a laboratory that allows the public to watch scientists actively study fossils. fossils. At the opposite end of the parking lot is a super short trail that pretty much no one is aware exists. It's pretty tucked away, but it's not something you should miss. It provides an outstanding view of Sheep Rock, the namesake of the unit, towering over the John Day River. Sheep Rock stands an impressive 3,360 feet tall and has a captivating appearance. You'll notice a variety of colors, with the most prevalent being a light blue, which comes from claystone most commonly found at our next destination, Blue Basin. Blue Basin is where you'll find the most prevalent hiking trails both within the unit and the monument. You'll reach a sign that tells you to go left for the Blue Basin Overlook Trail and right for the Island and Time Trail. The former is a 4-mile loop trail giving long-range views of the blue-hued canyon, and the latter is a 1.2-mile out-and-back trail giving up-close views of the canyon. Though, as I previously stated with the Painted Hills, I find that the up-close views don't display the color nearly as well. Still, since it was my first time visiting Blue Basin, I decided to give it a go, combining both trails into a slightly longer 4.1-mile loop. Admittedly, the start of the hike doesn't begin all that exciting. It isn't until you start to gain elevation where the views become amazing. Something that surprised me about this hike was, though the views of the Blue Basin were great, the backdrop of the landscape of the Sheep Rock unit was a terrific compliment. You'll even see a collection of painted hills here, and they're only visible if you go on this trail. Overall, this was an incredible time and one of my favorite trails this past trip to Oregon. The Island and Time detour we did proved to be well worth our time as well. Though the color may not be as pronounced up close, the shapes and sizes are very intriguing to witness. Plus, the trail features over a dozen metal bridges passing over a dried up creek with little puddles of green water, likely from recent rain collecting color from the Blue Basin. As you continue north on the John Day Highway, keep your eyes peeled for Cathedral Rock. Though there's no way to get out of your vehicle to fully appreciate this colorful formation, you'll likely be able to drive slow or stop to get a good look and take a couple pictures. Its captivating bright red stripe reminds me very much of one of the most photographed mountains at the Red Rock Canyon National Conservation Area near Las Vegas, Nevada. Up next, my final recommendation in the Sheep Rock unit is the Story in Stone and Flood of Fire Trail. Similar to the last spot, these are two trails that share the same parking lot, and because it's under a mile to experience both, it really doesn't hurt. Since you're up close, the blue-green color doesn't pop nearly as much, but it's still cool to see all the different formations. The Flood of Fire Trail has a neat final view of a claystone formation that blends Blue Basin and Cathedral Rock together. You'll notice the light blue shade occupying the majority of the rock, with a streak of red at the top acting as a really cool contrast. The third and final unit of the John Day fossil beds is the often overlooked Clarno unit. It's roughly an hour 40 minutes from both the Sheep Rock unit and the Painted Hills unit, making it by far the most remote unit within the National Monument. I'll also add that it's by far the smallest, with only one trail wrapping around the Clarno rock formations. Therefore, if you only have time to see 2 units, definitely skip this one. Since we happened to be driving back to Portland that night and the Clarno unit was just a short detour, we decided to make a quick stop and see it. Though you'll likely only need under an hour to experience this one, I do consider it to be a little underrated. Clarno's rock palisades rise 150 feet high and are made up of volcanic mudflow that formed 40 to 54 million years ago. There really weren't a whole lot of different vantages you could get of the Clarno rock formations, but they were pretty impressive nonetheless. I enjoyed the Clarno arch trail that features a small open ceiling formation. I desperately wish there was a trail that took you to the top of the palisades, though I understand that they don't want to disturb the environment. Still, I can only imagine how epic the view would be from up there. That said, I now conclude my video guide to the John Day Fossil Beds National Monument in Central Oregon. Let me know if you've been here before and what you thought of it. Also, give me a like and subscribe to Travel Dash for more content like this in the future. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye guys.